Welcome everybody to Who's Your Band. I'm Jeffrey Paul. I'm joined by Sean Morton. How are you, Sean?
I'm ducky. I had to move because we're doing this at a different time than we normally do. And apparently there's a lot of glare. And Lord knows, as far as this podcast goes, not only am I the talent and the funny one, but I'm also the face of this podcast too. So we have to see my beautiful face
Well,
uh, bright and up front and clear with no distractions from Mother Nature.
right, but there's the big distraction of Bowie right behind you.
Isn't it great? Isn't that
It's a
that is a badass picture.
Oh, that's a great picture. I love it. I rather look up. I'm right now. I'm looking at Bowie. I'm not even looking at your stupid face.
I don't care. Listen, look at Bowie all you want. I'm a better singer than Bowie. You know why? He's dead.
I
I threw you that one.
Ray Charles saw that one coming. So we have a guest. He's going to be joining us in a little bit. But before we do that, and introduce him, I want to talk a little bit about Sean Morton. If you haven't seen him, just physically lately, I mean, the guy has disappeared. He has lost well over 100 pounds and has gotten himself in.
210, Jeffrey. I want credit
How
for
much?
210. I
Two,
want credit for every ounce that has left this disaster of a body.
210 pounds.
Yeah.
He looks great. He's wearing clothes that like a normal person could wear again. And he made me feel bad a couple of weeks ago.
Why?
And yeah, I'm gonna explain.
Okay.
Okay. Because I don't think we were too far apart in weight.
Yeah, I'm at 250.
Okay. So what I've started, and I'm a week into this right now. I
Oh,
started I,
hot 76.
I started 75 hard.
Something like that.
Yes. And what 75 hard is it's a 75-day challenge where you can't cheat, and you have to do one 45-minute indoor workout, which I've done already today. You got to do a 45-minute outdoor workout, which I still have to do. So I'll probably do that after I watch the Met game a little bit later on. You could only eat, like, you have to pick a diet. I'm doing intermittent fasting. So I can eat in the morning between 8 and 12, and I can only eat at night between 8 and 10. All right. Um, so I'm doing that. There is no alcohol. You have to drink a gallon of water, and you have to read 10 pages of a book. So and if you there's no excuse. If it rains, you still got to do the outdoor workout.
Mhm.
And the outdoor workout can consist of bike riding. It could be playing tennis. It could be, walking, which I've been doing a lot of. And I think about this because I think about you, like how you say, like, religiously, you would wake up early and
Yeah.
do like your 3-4 mile walk every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that really inspired me.
I
Um,
appreciate that.
I I get the feeling that I'm going to lose no weight on this.
Probably
You
not.
know, it'll just be like I'll still suffer. I'll do it. I'm going to do it all the way through. But I just get the feeling that's what's going to happen to me. But that's what this summer is going to be dedicated to get myself back in shape and to be healthy again.
Listen, you know what it is? Whatever it takes to get what you gotta, the goal that you gotta get to. And this sounds like more of a structure thing, which some people need to have that structure. I don't understand where the 10 pages of reading a book comes into
It's
this.
body and mind.
Whatever, dude. No, it's body. You gotta get the body in shape. The mind is fine. You know, I see that certain things like that. I don't believe in. I mean, whatever you gotta do, you gotta do. It's like when people go on weight loss programs, and you gotta go and oh, I'm going on Weight Watchers. I gotta count my points. No, how about this? Put the burger down, fatty. All right, grill some chicken, eat some freaking vegetables. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to count everything. I'm not a believer like that. Like, for me though, it was just like I wanted to start my day off in a good way, and that's why I would get the walking done or running done in the morning. You know,
I think the morning workout. See, I'm a big reader and big believer of the Stoics, uh, of Marcus Aurelius,
Mhm.
and the Stoics always talked about getting up early, doing things early. We weren't made to lay under the covers, is one of the things that they would talk about. And the great Roman emperors during the Pax Romana would get up early, and they would start their day. And it would be doing some type of exercise. And the point of that is when you do something early in the day, you feel productive, and it puts you in a good headspace for the rest of the day. And I find that to be very true.
100%. I mean, and that's one of the things. Like if I miss a workout in the morning, and then I decide to maybe do it at the end, 5:30, 6 o'clock, it's very, very different. No matter if you're having a good day or a bad day, you're still having a day. You're having 8 to 10 hours of doing something, whether it's working or running around, whatever you're gonna do. You're tired at the end of the day. So I agree. For me, it's always about the morning, and that's even though I'm kind of bitched out about the structure thing, it is a little bit of a structure, but like I don't know, like the 10 pages of a book, and then I can
I
only
like the 10 pages of the book.
I
Again,
can only eat from 8 to
it
10.
forces you. Well, listen, you're not a reader. You're a very ill-informed, dopey guy.
Let me explain something to you, okay? I'm gonna tell you something that you don't know about your old buddy Sean Morton here. Between the ages of 12 and 17, I was
You
able
wet your bed?
I would well, besides that, I had a binky too. I was reading like 800 words a minute. I was a speed reader, and I could still read about I'd say between 450 and 500 words a minute at this point. Like we were talking to Brad Trackman.
And you're able to understand and
I
retain
retain
what you're
everything.
reading?
Yeah, I retain everything. So we were talking about the Anthony Cumia autobiography that he had written. I read that in I think 50 minutes, 55 minutes, something like that. I
Wow.
through it. Yeah, like I had a friend over and I started reading it. Like we were watching wrestling, whatever. I read the whole thing. I said, "Here, you can take it." Oh, how much were you up to? I go, "No, I read the whole thing." Yeah, so it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing, but that's a little factoid you didn't know about me.
I did not know. See, I don't have that ability. I can't. It takes me a little bit to read it. My father had the ability, he still does, where he can read something once, understand it, retain it. If I'm reading, say, whether it would have been a self-help book, or something where instructions to do something, I have to read it a couple of times to kind of like let it all sink in.
Yeah,
Like right now, I'm finishing. I'll be finished with it tomorrow. I'm reading this book by, remember J.J. French from Twisted Sister?
yeah, it's a great book.
Yeah, you read that book, okay? It's about the business side of
Yeah,
music. So, yeah, so
great.
I'm finishing that up, and then I'm looking when I'm down here. I'll probably start or finish up. I have like a bunch of books I have to really finish up. So I think I'm going to finish up Sammy Hagar's biography. Um, but yeah, I mean, I read it a couple of times just so, like, especially if it's something that I really want to remember, I'll read it 2, 3 times so it sinks in.
Yeah, certain things I'm weird at. Like I can remember taking my SATs, and I did no prep. I knew all the Asian kids. I mean, I went to a great high school. All these Asian kids were taking like prep courses and stuff like that. And I came in hungry.
Wait, are you comparing yourself to an Asian kid?
No, no, what I'm saying,
Yeah,
let
you're
me get
no
to the
Asian
point.
kid.
Let me get to the point. I'm a chunk. See, that's another bad one too. But I remember getting there. I was hungover from the night before. I still was a little bit high, and I just walked in, and I wound up getting a 1380 on my SATs. Just complete, like I'm a good test taker. I'm good with that, but like I was just lazy. That was the only thing. But yeah, I was always a good reader. I love it. I mean, I have a huge bookcase full of books. I've read them all. That's why I haven't. I have
and
to
you
get I have to get some new stuff, and
and you keep them as trophies.
I do. I don't. Sometimes I
That's what
pay them
people do.
forward. I
That's
pay
what
them
people do.
forward. No, I'll give them away. Like I'll give them to somebody if I know, like somebody like my friend who loves Kumi. I read the book, I gave it to him. Wrestling fan, my wrestling friends. I'll read a Chris Jericho book and I'll give it to them. I don't worry about it coming back. Think of it this way: you're going to spend freaking $40 a person going to a movie between your ticket and your popcorn and your soda and all that shit. You buy a book for $15, it's entertainment as well. It might take a little longer than a 2-hour movie. You're not going to give the movie back if you go to a movie theater, and you can pay it forward to somebody else.
No, I find it relaxing too. This is why I didn't find relaxing. What happened to me this weekend? This is something else I was saving. I was going to send Adam a video of this. But anyway, so Saturday night at Laughing Stock Comedy Club, we had Damian Lemon, who is he's a great comic.
Yeah.
And Rich Carucci, who's my partner in the club, he was hosting. I was the feature, and Damien is going to close the show. So anyway, the way my schedule goes, I'm doing the 75 hard, so I had to do my workouts and everything, get it in. And then about 4 o'clock, I'm going to go upstairs and take a shower so I can be on the road by 4:30. I shut off the TV because the Mets were playing. The Mets were playing the Cubs. I get a phone call from my son that his car was on fire. He was on the Henry Hudson heading towards the Connecticut, and his car caught on fire. I have the video of it. I should have sent it to Adam to show it. Uh,
He's
so yeah, so well, what I did was like at first I'm like, well, my wife he has me going, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Is everything okay?" I told him the car's on fire. She immediately stops what she's doing and she's just changes and she's about to go into the car. I'm like, "Do you got this?" She's like, "I got it. I'm gonna go." She goes, "Just go to the club. Go to the club." I'm walking up the stairs to shower. I'm like, I can't go to the club. This is all I'm going to be thinking about. I don't know if he's say I gotta go to get my son. So I tell her I'm going to meet her, and she comes back. She goes, "I'll pick you up." We wind up going out to the Henry Hudson Parkway. The car is completely totaled. Okay, I mean it was engulfed in flames.
that's
I mean,
scary.
it was really, really scary. He's safe. The car is destroyed. And today we're going out looking at different cars. But we have a special guest joining us today. Okay. And this guy, man, he is such an interesting person. Yeah, you could see him in stand-up clubs all over the place. You could see him on TV. I see him all the time on Gutfeld now. But if you go to tapings of shows, okay, like where he's coming from right now, he's just coming from the Daily Show, where he's the warm-up comic, and he'll tell us a little bit about that. We welcome to the show comedian, former judge, actor, which I did not know about. We'll get into that a little bit too. Mr. Vince August. Vince, can you hear us? Everything good?
How are you guys? Let me tell you something. First of all, everyone should know the patience that you guys have had with me to get me on this friggin' thing. I unfortunately had to stand you up once because of traffic trying to get back home from the Jersey
Wait,
Shore.
are you saying traffic on a Sunday from the Jersey Shore?
Can you believe it?
No,
Never
Can you
heard of
believe it?
that rarely happens.
I understand traffic, but this was like that ridiculous and never ending line to back to Staten Island that just clogged up everything.
Oh my God. It is Sunday trying to get over the Goethals or the Adder
Forget
Bridge
it. Yeah.
is insane, especially the Adder Bridge, how
Yeah.
far it's backed up.
I
You
love
sit,
I watch Fox 5 News every morning, and I love when they do the traffic and they go, it's actually been moving very well on the Staten Island Expressway from the Goethals Bridge to the Verrazano, which is 6 miles, is only an hour and 17 minutes right now.
Yeah. And then
yeah.
and then tonight I was racing home from the city, which wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. So, but thank you guys for being patient with me and getting me on here. It's a pleasure, man.
Listen, I've been wanting to get you on here for a little while and talk to you. And when I was looking up what you did, I mean, listen, in the introduction, I mentioned how you were a judge and how you do your stand up and you do warm up. But this is the thing I did not know about you. You're an actor as well.
Yeah, I was on the TV show What Would You Do? Which is really what got me in trouble
That was
when I
John
was a
Quinones,
judge.
right?
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah, a
that was
great
the
show.
thing that really got me in trouble. It wasn't the stand up. It was that I was on for like the first, I want to say 45 out of maybe 60 episodes of that show when it launched. And, I played the antagonist, with another actor. That is what really motivated people to intercede and get involved. And that was the thing that, people in the administrative office of the courts and the ethics committee are like, look, if people recognize you, they're going to say, this guy's a monster. But I did a couple of soap operas. I was on General Hospital, for a couple episodes. I did,
As the
what
world
was As the
turns.
World Turns. Yeah, I did that show Power. So here and there, yeah, I bounced around. I did a couple commercials. Yeah, did a little bit of that.
What was the
I'm
bit
glad you
that
didn't
got
do
you in trouble?
I'm glad you didn't do any more episodes of General Hospital, because if you're paying attention to the news the past 6 months, everybody on that show's fucking dead. They
It's
must have
pretty
lost like
crazy. Yeah.
eight
Yeah.
people from General Hospital have died in like the last year. My mother's been in
It,
more.
Why? Who died?
Oh, a bunch of people. My mother's
yeah.
like the
I
Uber
used to love
Italian
that show.
wearing the friggin' black dress for like the friggin' a year because everybody in our soap opera has been dropping dead. It's freaking
It's like they got real COVID in the hospital and it just started wiping people out.
What was the bit that got you in trouble?
Well, the very first episode I did, I was a security guard that was racially profiling what were black actresses acting as shoppers in a high-end New York store. And, they didn't really know that I had lived the line, but, a lot of the stuff that I said was really, you wanted to be provocative. You wanted people to be, to get upset at, some of the things I was saying. So I would say, hey, look, I need to search you. And they'd be like, did you search any of the white people? I'm like, no, why would I? They're not shoplifting. You're black. You're shoplifting.
Did you ad lib it or did they give you
Oh,
lines?
I improvised 99% of it. Because, John knew I was a stand-up. He knew I did a ton of improv. And he said, let this guy off the leash and let him do his thing. And that was the first episode. And from that episode, they're like, this guy gets what this is. He gets this show. Let's use him more and more. And the next episode, there was one episode, geez, I was yelling at a 10 or 12-year-old kid who was working in what was our family business. And I was basically saying how he sucked at his job and just kept yelling at this 12-year-old in front of all these
And
shoppers.
you have the face, you have the look to
Yeah.
pull this off.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I look like everybody that was at the Capitol building on January 6th. Are you kidding me?
You know what you look like? Did you ever see the movie Falling Down with Michael Douglas?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you look at the guy who worked at the Army surplus place.
Yeah. I'm that guy. Yeah. Yeah. You're like me, man. You're like me. We're the same.
That's a great
We're the
impression.
same, Jeffrey. Come on, man. You're like me.
Do you know who that guy was married to?
No.
Mary Lou Henner
Get the hell out of here.
from Taxi.
Wow. Hey, that's a good marriage.
Yeah, so you got
It's a
that
good
going
marriage.
for you.
Oh, that's actually not a good marriage. She has total recall. You can't lie shit around Mary Lou Henner. Did you know that?
Hey,
has-
listen,
she has
I would
total
still
recall.
take that chance. She's hot, man.
She is.
Even in her 70s, she still looks
Yes, she is.
I want to remember friggin' what I ate for dinner at a restaurant in friggin' 1987. No, get the fuck out of here. I want to forget it.
great. No, but I remember Rich Voss did an episode of that where he was the comedian and they did
Yeah.
it at Stand Up New York. And he was like the mean comedian. I remember he got a lot of heat for that too.
Yeah, yeah, but he's always that guy. So he didn't really act. It was just him there, and they
Very
happened
true.
to catch it on camera.
So what kind of law did you practice?
I'm still practicing.
Because I thought,
Hmm.
I remember there's always like a lot of like, innuendo in rooms that go around about comedians and people, but I always thought that I had heard that you were given a choice that you either had to stop practicing law, being a judge, or do comedy. Is
No,
that
so
true?
the choice was lawyer, comedian, actor, or judge, lawyer. I couldn't do all of them. So they said, listen, honestly, we have nothing on your record that shows we can come after your law license in any way, shape, or form. And I'll tell you a funny
Well,
tie-in that-
is it against the law, or is it unethical to be
No,
a
so they
comedian or
have
be an actor?
Yeah, so they have these judicial canons about being an actor and appearing on TV. And the whole thing is that they don't feel the public can tell the difference between you playing a character in a show or movie and who you are in real life. So it's basically, Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Terminator. Arnold Schwarzenegger is all the characters he played. Jack, what's his name? Johnny Depp is a pirate. And it's like, well, those are extreme examples, but what you were doing on those shows was more or less, it seemed too real. It wasn't like a movie where you played just one character. You were playing many different characters. And on the one hand, I was like, look, man, I guess I get it. On the other hand, I'm like, I think you guys are being overprotective of a public that you think is stupid and can't see through the difference between being an entertainer and who you are in real life. It's not the same thing. I mean, Alec Baldwin was loved for doing a Trump impression in all of his movies, but he's an asshole in real life, getting into fights over parking spaces, getting into fights on planes because he's playing fucking Wordle or whatever. So it's like, really, you guys don't think people can tell the difference? And they felt it wasn't, but they said, no, listen, you can obviously still be a lawyer. We can't do shit about your law license. And that I never stopped. I had a trial yesterday. I was in court today in a DWI hearing. I have 13 cases on tomorrow morning in Morris
You're
County.
still hold on a second.
Yeah.
You're still practicing law. You're still
Full
wearing like a
time.
suit and reading cases and defending people.
I'm in court every day this week. So Monday was I was actually a 4.5 hour landlord tenant trial, commercial building. Today was DWI court. Tomorrow I do all of the hearings for the Bergen County Adjuster's Office. I go to psychiatric hospitals. We have commitment hearings. Thursday I'm in municipal court again. I had two domestic violence trials over the last 2 weeks. One I was prosecuting, the other one I was defending. Won both of them.
How many hours?
Yeah,
How many hours do you put in?
my law practice
Yes,
on a given week, minimum 50.
and you're you're performing in clubs. I know
Yeah,
you were down in Florida recently.
going back
Uh,
next week. Yeah,
okay, how often do you do warm up for the Daily Show?
4 days a week, Monday through Thursday.
And you're also filming Gutfeld, and they've been using you a lot more
Yeah,
because
I'm a
you're
once
good.
a month minimum there. Yeah.
Yeah,
But here's the thing, Vince. Here's what impressed Jeff the most out of all this. This goes to show you what kind of dope my podcast co-host is. You wear a suit.
because the
What
thing
impressed him.
is like my father was a lawyer. He started as in the district attorney's office, and
Yeah.
he ended his career as a housing court judge. So I know the hours that he put in.
Yeah.
Listen, maybe he just didn't like me, didn't want to hang out with me. Okay,
Yes.
but
Close out too. Yeah.
yeah, but you're doing the schedule that, listen, just a comedian schedule. You
Yeah.
know, people would be like, I've had enough.
That is true. I will give him that. Just to be a warm-up comic alone and then doing spots in the city at night, that's enough.
Well, I'll tell you this. I don't do as many spots as I used to. So there was a time where I was literally wearing all three hats. I was a lawyer. I had my court as a judge. And I would say this was at the height of me doing spots in the city. I was doing about 300 nights a year in the city, 3, 4 spots a night. That there was a window there of about 5 years where I was doing that. Now I'm a lot more picky about spots only because I feel that the club scene in the city, in terms of, running around and doing spots, the spots are few and far between. If you're
It's
not
not
in
like
that,
it was. It's not like it was,
no,
say, 5 to 8 years ago.
not
I
even
think
close.
it's a shift too, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but I think it's a young man's game at this point too.
Yeah, well, that too. And
But
listen, look, I'm at the point where I headline, and I have the fortune of being a headliner, so I can go on stage with 30 minutes of, material I know is going to crush no matter what. And pick that 30 minutes out of 4 hours of written stuff that I've developed over these 20 whatever years. Then you guys, Jeffrey, you know me with regards to improv, I can always just dive into improv, do crowd work for an entire show, or then mix in 15, 20 minutes of brand new material and weave it into what I'm doing and test it that way, as opposed to trying, 5 new minutes here, 5 new minutes there. That's all disjointed where you could really explore on stage. And I'd rather just produce my own show, go up and do an hour of new shit and, see how it's going. And if it's not going, well, slip into the old stuff, go into improv, to make sure people get their money's worth. But I found that to be more effective than running around spot to spot, trying 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes here.
I think the comedy world has changed a lot in the last, definitely the last 5 years. Not only since we've come out of the pandemic, but just the way to kind of like get any type of notice is like you would go around and you would do spot to spot, but there are nights where you stay home and you post on social media, and sometimes you can generate an audience more effectively that way than actually going out and doing 2, 3 different spots in Manhattan.
And that, I think, is the worst thing about comedy, because you have to be careful that you're not going from being a true stand-up comedian to trying to beat an algorithm and trying to figure out an algorithm. And the other thing that people started doing as stand-ups is people started realizing, if I put my material online, someone takes it and turns it into a meme or they come up with videos and they turn my comedy into a reel. And if they have more followers than me, it looks like it's their stuff, not mine. So what did all comedians started doing? They all started putting up bits of improv that you can't really turn into a meme or something like that. And it's, here's me doing crowd work. Now, again, here's the problem with that. All stand-up comedians started setting up cameras and doing crowd work, and you see them, get 2 minutes of excellent crowd work, and you're like, oh my God, this guy's a killer crowd work comic. And then you go see him and you're like, oh, it took fucking 25 minutes of fishing to get that 2 minutes.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
also
like,
a lot of times you see implants in the audience as well. I know guys have
oh,
done that as
thank
well.
you. I'm glad you said it and I didn't.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I
true.
mean, yeah, what looks authentic isn't. And that's why I think comedy cannot be replicated on
No,
Zoom or watching a special. You
no.
gotta be, it's a contact sport. You gotta be there.
Fried
With the schedule that you put in,
Yeah.
okay, what has to be sacrificed?
Personal life.
Are you married?
I'm not. So I've been with my fiance for 24 years. Don't have kids. I have, it's me, her, and my dog, which my dog is in my office when I'm at a court. My dog is with me all day. But one of the things that I've sacrificed is, the one thing I tell people, and it is not a, break out the violence moment, but I don't have friends. I don't have like, let's go out to dinner with these people. I have literally a handful of people that I associate with. And the problem is, would I love to see the group of people that I've made friends with over the years? Yeah, I would. But because I only have maybe one night a week where I could go out, you spend it with the people closest to you. Now, she's got, a daughter that's got grandkids. So she wants to see her grandkids. So a lot of times it becomes that. Because it's what, look, I got to be around for her at some point, so I mean, I'm out of the house 6 a.m. at the gym, come home, shower. If I'm not going
By the way,
to,
I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's
yeah,
another thing. I just want the audience to know this guy is in phenomenal shape. Okay. I mean, really, you're going to put 27-year-olds to shame.
yeah, it's for me, it's therapy. So I'm in the gym 5 days a week, 6 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, depending on, what my 9 o'clock, 8:30 schedule is, if it's being at a court or being on a Zoom or being in my office. So hit the gym, come home, shower. I'm either going to a court or sitting at my desk getting work done. 4:15, boom, on the road, Monday through Thursday, get to the city, report 5 o'clock. Normally I'm out the door there 6:15. And then it's race back home, finish off whatever law work I didn't get done, because if I'm leaving at 4:15, it's you're leaving about an hour and a half on the table. So, I'll get to another hour and a half worth of work and then go over, some of my comedy stuff, see what I need to set up. Like if I'm headlining, putting together new stuff, new bits I'm working on. And a lot of all I do at the Daily Show is improv. So some of that stuff will turn into a bit. So immediately write that down, grab dinner. And then by the time I'm on the couch, maybe it's 9:30, take the dog for a walk just to kind of shut it down. And then, then it's, if I have, like tomorrow night, I got a spot in the city. I'm doing a spot in Delancey. So that's, I'm going to be at the club. I'm not going to get home till like, whatever, 11 o'clock or whatever, whatever it is. And just that's rinse and repeat, usually 4 days a week. Fridays is my law catch up day. So I'll be at my desk till 6. Last week I headlined. So it was work till 6, grab dinner, boom, go to Springfield, do the Comedy Cove headline. And then, I'm home and try to have a semblance of a life somewhere.
What's great though is like, there's so many I mean, there's, a million comics that we all know and whatever.
Yeah.
And probably 98%, I would say, maybe aren't full-time comics. And they always talk about how they have jobs and stuff like that. But nobody's a fucking lawyer and a judge. Guys are delivering like Uber Eats and door dashing and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like this is like a real fucking job that you have to do where people's lives are depending on you. And then you're like, oh shit, let me get out of here and tell some fucking jokes to 9 immigrants in fucking Greenwich Village. That's a fucking handful, man. That really is.
Artie Lang, and I talked about it with Artie Lang once, and he goes, obviously you're a guy that loves action. He goes, because you're not exactly like a patent lawyer where you're sitting at your desk all day. You're in court. And I said, you know what? I don't know if it's because listen, as comedians, we know we're all fucked up. So we all deal with that weird kind of depression, anxiety, whatever it is we have. I think it's like a fish that has to keep swimming. The more active I am, the more active my mind is. I think I'm more creative because of the fact I'm constantly working, because of the fact I'm constantly doing things. I find my creativity is at a highest when I'm busiest, as opposed to when I have those dead spots. Like
100%.
the pandemic was brutal because you're just, there's nothing happening. And it was just like, I don't know, what the fuck am I writing about? All right, I could write about
You
the
go and
vaccine.
go
I
and
could write
go,
about,
but when you crash, you're done.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
See, I
See,
have kind of like a similar type of schedule. I mean, I do. I get up 6:45. I teach 2 courses in the morning. I teach a Western civilization and a U.S. history course. Okay. I come home, I have stuff to do, and then I go out. I'm in the city or New Jersey probably like 4 or 5 nights a week, and then the weekends, and I have the club up in Pennsylvania. But I wanted to ask you, where do you get your discipline from? Is that your
My
father? Your
parents. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're immigrants from Italy. They grew up during World War II. My dad was born in 1930, what, three. My mom was born 1935. So when, World War II was happening in their backyard, they were, 7 and 5 years old through, 12 and 10 years old. I mean, if you ask most 10, 12-year olds, if they remember 9/11 and they were from our area, they'll tell you, yeah, I remember people waiting at train stops and candles and shit like that. Now multiply that by every day the war's going on. So every day is the 9/11 in your neighborhood because there's German soldiers and there's Americans and you're being bombed and all kinds of stuff. So they grew up with a really work first mentality. And I grew up in a family business. So we had a
what was the
bakery.
business?
It was a wholesale retail bakery. So it
So
was 24/7.
I was gonna say, bakery, you're getting up early, so there's the morning
Yeah.
discipline. Yeah.
It was 24/7. So, my house was, you constantly worked. So we were always working. We didn't go on vacations. We didn't go on family vacations. That was all before me. I have two older brothers and an older sister, and dad was doing that when he originally worked for Buitoni Foods as a foreman at the electrical plant. And ironically enough, in the town I became judge. So yeah, it was that old Italian immigrant work mentality.
That's that it you don't find that with people anymore. It's more about, I think people just want to like be given something. There's an entitlement that I've never like experienced and that I
But it's
don't relate to.
it's not even in Italy anymore. Do you know what I'm
Oh
saying?
no,
It's
it's in
it's just
Staten Island, it's in New Jersey, it's anywhere you go.
but it's generationally gone. I think, it's weird. We're in a weird place right now globally where we have technology is so advanced, we have so much information at our fingertips, but it's made us lazy.
Well, we're mentally lazy.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And
yeah.
I think, I don't think I know. I think the government is kind of pushing us to be physically lazy too. It's cool to stay home. It's good to stay play PlayStation and live in your apartment and vape and don't listen, why do you think they push an electric car?
Yeah.
Okay. You can't travel far in an electric car.
Wait,
I
listen,
don't-
you work out, no? You're a gym guy, no?
yes.
When you go to the gym, what's the average age group of the people at the gym? You have the young kids that are in sports, the high school kids, the college kids that are in sports. Then there's nobody in their 20s. Then it's all of a sudden 40 and 50-year-olds. So it seems like that 20 to 35 range to me, at least at where the gym I am, that seems to be where they're most lacking. So if you're not in a high school, college sport, it's all older people that are at my gym working out hard.
That's a great observation.
It's true.
I got to take a little bit more notice of that.
Yeah.
Uh, you're doing warm up for the Daily Show,
Yeah.
which is pretty much for the most part like a left leaning show, right?
Oh, of course it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you also seen a lot on Gutfeld. So
Yeah.
what's the difference of the dynamic between the two? Or is there really no dynamic?
There's no dynamic because to me, and this is the thing I tell people, comedy is comedy. Okay. Whatever it is that the show is attacking in terms of what the show's agenda is, that's not mine. So when I go to the Daily Show, my job is to get those people to understand where they are, and then, take this audience of 200 and whatever people and shrink the room, kind of take what seems to be people in stands and slowly bring them closer, bring them in, and turn it into an intimate space where they feel they're part of the show. And the way I do that is improv and make them laugh and realize, oh yeah, I'm here to laugh. I'm here to have a good time and not just watch and clap. There's no applause sign at the Daily Show. There's no laugh sign. There's none of that. Now, I watch Mar, and you could pretty much tell that there's somebody there goading on the laughter. I don't know what goes on at the other shows. Well, I shouldn't say that because I also do
Do you
warm
like
up.
Ma?
I don't. I
You
don't.
just I do.
Yeah,
I do.
I think he's
I don't agree with everything he says, but
no.
but at least he's able to defend it.
I think he's disingenuous is the problem. I
Really?
just yeah. I don't think he's honest
It-
about who he is.
where really?
Yeah, I think he is. There's Bill Maher, the personality that he's created over all of these years, from politically incorrect to real time. And then there's what he really thinks and believes, because based on his beliefs, he's clearly pro-gun. He's clearly anti-woke. With the exception of the religion thing, which, he's very anti-religion, but at the same time, he's separation of church and state. Most of his principles are conservative.
Right.
Is he conservative or is he moderate? Because the left has gone so far left, has it become Jamal Bowman. Okay,
Yeah. No,
where he's kind of left, like looking like a conservative, but he's really not.
I think he's conservative who has to keep reminding himself how much he hates Donald Trump, and how much, the Republicans, are mean and bad and this and that. But if you ask him fiscally, in terms of taxes, in terms of, would you rather keep your money or give it and send it to wars overseas? See, but we've
He
morphed in a
leans with the
way.
GOP.
Yeah. And we've, like you just said, we've morphed in a way. Listen, when I was young, I was anti-Iraq war because I had friends that were in the military. And, I got the stories of Desert Storm, and it was a war about oil. We weren't liberating Kuwait. We were protecting our financial interest in oil.
Would it be the first time we've done that?
Right. And I
go
was considered
as far back as the Spanish-American War.
right.
We
And I
defended the fields
right.
there.
And I was considered, very hippie and very left leaning because of that. The second war when we went to Iraq, everybody and their mother knew Iraq was not responsible for the attack on 9/11. It came from Afghanistan, Pakistan, and it came from the Taliban, which had been in existence since the Afghan-Russian thing in the 80s. So it was like I was against that. And again, hippie crazy. Now I'm against the Ukraine war, and I'm fucking a Russian asset. I'm this
but
crazy.
That's the extremism that we have become. If you can't disagree, okay? And like with the Ukraine war is interesting because it's we need to give some type of aid, but are we giving too much aid, and why isn't the money earmarked? You can't just give a blank check. We should be giving more weapons as opposed to just take this money and do what you want, and then keep asking us for more, and then we keep giving it, which makes no sense to me.
Jeff, no one is going to convince me this is not a proxy war for our government.
100% a proxy war.
It's
and the war in the Middle East is a proxy war for Iran.
Military industrial complex. This is a money laundering scheme. And the best thing about it for all the neocons is, you know what? There's no caskets coming back with American flags on them. This is the best case scenario for all of those bloodthirsty fucking neocons like Anthony Blinken, that Victoria Nuland, the Clintons and all these, Obama bombed the shit out of Syria. They love these things. And a part of it is financial. The other part of it is they do it, you know why? Just because they can. And they're power hungry, sick fucks that
It's a mentality.
run.
I can't really, I don't relate to it.
Yeah.
I think the world needs a lot more centralization where you can definitely just see both sides of a coin. I always talk about this one conversation I had with somebody who was saying, like, how can you lean right? Don't you want my rights to be protected? And I said, of course I want your rights to be protected. Well, you can't if that's the case. I said, no, that's not true. I said, here's what I want you to understand. If you got pregnant, I have absolutely no problem with you making a decision for your body. It is your body, your decision. I support that 100,000%. But at the same time, as you're walking into that abortion clinic, I think you have the right to have a gun strapped to your hip. And it blew her mind. Like it was like I literally had the switch went off, and she was actually being able to listen.
By the way, Sean, have you noticed how the language has changed where the talking point is that my body, my choice, because of everything that's come out about the vaccine? Okay. It's now, are you pro-abortion? Not my body, my choice anymore.
Right. And listen, I'm pro-choice, but I'm also a gun owner. And when it comes to, like, here's a perfect example, LGBTQ community. I tell people, listen, it's anecdotal evidence. I've got a lot of friends. I have friends that have transitioned. I have friends that are gay. I have friends that are lesbian. I have friends that all parts of that community. Everyone that I know that's a member of that community has only wanted one thing. Just leave me the fuck alone. Let me live my life. Let me be able to walk down the street. Just don't bother me. No one I knew that was a part of that community ever said, you need to celebrate me. You need to celebrate my choices. And I think what happens is there's groups that hijack these communities.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, everything, as well as I do, everything is the narrative coming from the Vanguards and the Black Rocks of the world. That's where the directive is coming from.
Yes. Yeah. And what it does is it accomplishes their goal of dividing us. And everyone says, well, blacks and whites and Hispanics and gays, they all want this. Who the fuck is the president of each of these groups that you're getting this? Listen, I grew up in Hackensack, New Jersey, was predominantly black. And everyone that I knew, and Jesse Jackson's not the president of fucking black people. I didn't fucking nominate Jesse Jackson in charge of me. I didn't put Reverend Al Sharpton in charge of me. But what the media does is they inflate a face to the group so it's easier. So what do we do with white supremacy? Boom, Donald Trump. You put faces to it. Even like this person, Dylan Mulvaney, everyone like hates Dylan Mulvaney. And I'm like, why? Dylan Mulvaney's living Dylan Mulvaney's life. If you're mad at anybody for promoting that, be mad at Bud Light. You could be mad at Star Wars and Disney for doing all of the shit that they're doing, that they're pushing agenda.
Did you notice what Bud Light's done this year?
A complete about face.
A complete about face. They haven't done anything for Pride Month. They haven't promoted it. It hasn't been on the webpage. Them, Target, all the ones that caught the big backlash. But I mean, Bud Light in particular, have just kind of like bowed out very, very quietly about that.
But I don't begrudge the people for being who they are, and then a corporation goes over them and exploits them. And then what? We blame the person that's exploiting. No, that person is just living their life. They had an opportunity. They seized on it. I mean, who's not? And I had this out with somebody who was a guest on Gutfeld, and we locked horns over it. And that person's doing woman face. I'm like, really? I'm like, because you guys have Caitlyn Jenner on there all the fucking time.
Who said that?
I had it out with Tyrus.
Oh, you know what? Because my wife loves Gutfeld. That is like her favorite show. I may have caught on the back end of that. And every time you're on, I have to go, hey, I know that guy. That's my big.
But no, he said, that person's doing woman face. And I'm like, oh, you guys have Caitlyn Jenner on here. That is that not woman face? You know, and then you can get crazy with that and say, well, is Larry the Cable Guy blue collar face? Is Carlos Mencia Mexican? Listen, they're entertainers, man. They're just doing their gig. They're trying to get work. They're trying to live their lives. If you think their life and what their gig is bullshit and they're exploiting something, what the fuck isn't?
You know what the bottom line is? I really believe this is I don't think things are that bad, but we've manufactured them to make them bad.
And everybody wants to be outraged over everything. And I'm like,
Exactly.
it's not that. If this country with 350 million guns, if we were that pissed off at each other, we'd have gun violence and bloodshed all over the streets. And I tell people, we're not arguing with each other. News network anchors are fucking arguing with each other. They literally go on and talk about, can you believe what the left is saying? No, the left's not saying shit. Fucking Joe Scarborough said that. Or the people on The View said it.
First of all, the two shows you mentioned here. First, The View.
Right.
Again, the show gets no rating. It's kept on, as a propaganda tool of the DNC. Okay,
Right.
Joe Scarborough is absolutely a spokesperson for the White House as well. Okay,
And listen, there were people on Fox that I say, look, man, you're off the fucking ranch on some of this stuff. I think Hannity goes way too far. You know,
Hannity is the same shit. He's an alarmist. There's a guy.
Yeah.
There's a guy on Sundays. He does the Media Buzz. That's probably the best show on that network because he has both sides on.
Listen, I've been on Will Kane's show.
I love Will
times.
Kane. Why isn't he a bigger star?
Yeah, well, listen, and I disagreed with him on a Caitlin Clark topic, and he loved what I said about it. And he said, you know what, Vin? He goes, I never thought of that approach. He goes, it makes sense. And he expected me to just be, Team Will. And I'm like, no, man, I disagree with you. I'm going to disagree with you. I'm not on, your show to just be a yes man. If that's what you want, you got the wrong guy.
What was his point of view on Caitlin Clark?
So she was left off the Olympic basketball team, and
Right.
he thought it was a bad decision for marketing purposes. And I said, I disagreed with him because the Olympics in and of themselves, you're not worrying about putting asses in chairs for the Olympics because all of the sponsorship is already there. It's bought and paid for. The attendance is not the thing for the Olympics.
But they want to. I can see the argument on both sides. Exactly.
Right, they want to draw eyes. And my thing is, look, I'll be honest. I don't watch WNBA, but before I went on, I checked her stats.
You and the other 359 million people in the United States.
And I looked at her numbers, and I said to him, listen, from what I could see from her numbers, there's definitely 15 women basketball players that are better than her, without a doubt. And I said, don't be so offended by that, because when Michael Jordan broke into the league as a third round pick, I think, what was it? Sam Bowie got picked before him?
No, he was the third overall pick.
Third overall pick.
Right.
Third. Not first or second, third. You could have argued there were 15 better guys in the NBA than him that year, because you're talking Bird, Magic, you had Isaiah, you had Patrick Ewing, you had guys all over the league. You could argue that he would not have made the Olympic team. And I said, this is the best thing for Caitlin Clark, because now she's not going to get handed stuff. She's going to work for it. I think it's going to make her a better basketball player. Now, in terms of the WNBA and marketing, no, she's got to be the logo. She's the new Jerry West logo for the WNBA. For whatever reason, people are gravitating towards her. Yes. But
sometimes people just have that it factor.
Whatever it is. And listen, Bird and Magic, I say to people, I don't know that you have the NBA in the 80s if you don't have Bird and Magic.
Oh, 100%. Do you remember what the NBA was in the 80s?
It was shit.
Do you remember the finals were shown on tape delay at night?
Yes. Before Bird and Magic.
Yes.
I mean, come on. Nobody was watching the NBA.
That's right.
Bird and Magic changed it. And because you had the two of them, and I'm like, listen, I know people don't like this Angel Reese girl for whatever reason. I don't know. She's the perfect foil for Caitlin Clark.
People say she's playing a character.
I don't think
she's playing the heel.
Yeah. but it is the same kind of comparison as Magic
Yeah.
and Bird, but she's a little bit more of an asshole.
Who is?
I think she's a little bit more of an asshole as Angel Reese. It just
Yeah.
comes
And
off very, comes off very like antagonistic and stuff like that. And then it's like a woe is me, oh, they're giving the calls away. Magic and Bird both had
no,
amazing talent. You know what I mean?
yes.
You've got the talent, but Caitlin Clark is one of those people who it's like you can truly say is a once in a generational talent as far as a female basketball player. The thing I love about her, there is less focus on girls being cheerleaders now and supporting dudes. Now she is awoken a monster, and all these little girls across the nation who are following her and idolizing this girl. You know what? Maybe this does take the WNBA somewhere different in 10, 15 years. Maybe it's not a laughing stock.
Well, now more people are going to know who Asia Wilson is because now there's more eyes on the WNBA. So instead of vilifying this girl, they really need to kind of like, hey, a debt of gratitude. Who's a better basketball player, Magic Johnson, LeBron James?
Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson, 100%.
Agreed.
Yeah.
He could have played all 5 positions and he played them well. And he did one year. Remember I think when Kareem went down, he wound up playing center.
He did play center, absolutely.
Listen, here's what I tell people. LeBron James was the best player during the time in which he played. Okay. There's no question about it. All right. The guy went to what, 10 finals in a row. That's like Bill Russell kind of shit to pull off. Okay. For who he went up against during the time he played, he was the best player. If you want to compare errors, which I hate to do because it's unfair to do, to me, when I look at the way guys dominated their errors, to me, no one dominated their era like Michael Jordan dominated his era.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, I'm so glad you said that. All right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna say the 80s, who was the most dominant player in the 80s?
Wow. I mean,
and I'm going somewhere with this.
That's really hard because see, here's the difference between basketball in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. In the 80s, every team had 5 good guys. And the 6th man award was like really hard to win. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you had every team was a complete team. So to say that, there was one guy, each team had a guy that
just go with your instincts. Who was the best player in the 80s?
I'm going World Be Free.
Shut up,
I got to go Magic.
Okay, but
I would go Bird.
But the thing is, either one of those two guys, there's no one else who enters the conversation. Who was the most dominant player in the 90s? Simple.
Jordan.
Okay, how about from 2000 to 2010?
Kobe.
Exactly. From 2010 to 2020.
LeBron.
I would disagree with you and go Stephen Curry. Won more championships.
No, I could say LeBron. I still got to go with LeBron for that.
Yeah,
because my argument was going to be is everyone tries to say that LeBron's a GOAT. I was like, he was never even the GOAT of his own decade.
No, he's not the GOAT, but he dominated his era. He dominated his era.
There's a difference between being, I think, a great athlete and a great basketball player.
Listen, that's the Tom Brady argument. Great quarterback, best athlete.
No,
not even close. Not even close. But game on the line, you had to pick a quarterback during that era. Who you picking? Come on.
I think 10 years down the road, I think 10 years down the road, when people really start looking at everything and take away the stats and the numbers and everything. After Jordan, and I hate saying this because I'm a diehard Celtics fan, but I put at number 2, I put Kobe as the 2nd greatest player of all time.
No question.
He was a killer.
No question.
You're
talking to a Celtics fan too. My first dog's name was Celtic, and I got a piece of the parquet floor in my house. I autographed by Larry Bird. I wanted to be Larry Bird as a kid, but there's no doubt about it. It's Jordan, Kobe, and then then the argument starts.
You're not putting Jabbar over Kobe?
No, different game, different time.
Very different game, and he had such a great team around him.
Well, so did Kobe, though.
I
mean, he played with,
He had Shaq.
He had Shaq. He had Gasol. There were
Fox
pieces on those teams as well.
Player.
Yeah, I mean, listen. No one guy.
Yeah.
The guy who I did see carry a team, he didn't win it, was the first LeBron team.
Yeah.
That went to a final.
Yeah.
he really can. But he always needed like a Robin, like
Oh, look, Kyrie. He needed
Kyrie, he
and
doesn't win a
Love.
championship until he goes to Miami and brings what's his name? Well, he won the
Well,
Kyrie and then wound up going with Wade.
and that's when the NBA changed, and you didn't need 5 guys. You needed 3 guys.
That's right.
If you had 3 good guys, you won a championship. And that's why I tell people this year the reason the Celtics were so much better than everyone else was because they were the only team that literally had 7, 8 guys that just destroyed you. So,
For sure.
I had people tell me, oh, if Porzingis is out, they lose to the Mavericks. I'm like, you guys are on fucking crack.
No way. No way.
My friends are like, oh, this is, if Porzingis doesn't play, you're fucked. I'm like, don't need him.
I'm like, listen,
Don't need him.
you're talking to a Celtic fan who watched a lot of basketball, and I told him, you guys think Porzingis was the difference this year. It wasn't. It was Drew Holiday.
Dude,
100%.
a guy knows the best thing that ever happened was when they traded Marcus Smart and Williams and they
Yes.
got Drew Holiday. I was like, how does the rest of the league let this happen? That was such a great trade.
Yeah, that was the
best part
difference.
about this, being a Celtics fan, they have almost the same team coming back next year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it probably lose Horford, but, whatever. If you get
No,
a healthy...
he already said he's coming back.
Oh, is he? All right. So if you get a healthy
more.
Porzingis who just had his surgery, he doesn't care about the Olympics. Good. No one should. Yeah, if he comes back healthy and he's anything of what he was last year and he's healthy for a full season, I think that, how are they any worse?
This was the most fun I've had watching basketball postseason in a very, very long time.
Phenomenal team game, the ball movement, everything. Yeah, it was enjoyable.
Listen, we've been talking politics and basketball, but the name of this show is Who's Your Band? Okay, we do have to talk a little bit of music before we let you
All
go.
right.
Okay, so when you're working out, when you're doing Vince August things, okay, what is it on your headphones? What are you listening to? Are you a music guy at all?
All right. So here's the thing about me that's gonna really blow your mind.
Tell me you play like Eddie Van Halen. I'm gonna come over there and pull your hair out.
No.
It's already been done. All right,
No, I am so all over the map when it comes to music. My big thing when it comes to music, I don't think I could sit through a concert of any one band without getting bored, because to me, sitting and listening to one, after a while, it's like, all right, I get it, enough. I don't care what the band is. There's more bands that I shockingly dislike that are mainstream.
Who don't you like?
Here's your top 5 that you hate. Because I want to say, I'm probably going to agree with a lot of them.
Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, come on, stop it.
Having nothing to do with his politics, I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh
my God, he's a great storyteller.
Jersey too. Okay,
yeah,
great storyteller.
Bon Jovi, without a doubt.
Great pop rock band.
Yeah, I don't get it. This was the one that makes everyone's skin absolutely crawl. The Beatles.
What the fuck, dude? How is that possible?
Wow. Talk about.
I never tell that to Trevor Lease.
Do you remember on The Price is Right? It was the game where they had the little Alpine guy that was going up like this.
Yeah, he's off the cliff.
And this is my favorite. This is my favorite podcast in a very, very long time. And all of a sudden, oh shit, it's down. It's gone. It's done.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear who he likes. Good. Give us 2 more.
See, but yeah, I have to understand. I grew up, so I had 2 older brothers, and one was rock, the other one was disco. So I was exposed to both. And then I had an older sister who was pop. So I would literally hear 3 different genres of music going on at once. Then I grew up during the 80s, really, which was grammar school and high school, which was one-hit wonders for the most part. I tended then to gravitate if I have to pick greatest all-time band.
Yeah, bands who you like.
I'm going to say Guns N' Roses, without a doubt, is in the handful of top bands. I was also a huge Metallica guy before anybody knew who Metallica. I'll tell you right now, if the Metallica, I could sit through an entire concert. I could sit and listen to Metallica probably the longest of anybody. Metallica, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC. I'm in and out.
What about Pink Floyd? You're a cerebral guy.
I don't hate Floyd. I don't treat Floyd like I do Bon Jovi or Bruce. I have to be in the mood for Floyd. I feel like Floyd is a mood you're in at that moment. Like, see, I didn't get a lot of the British shit. I didn't get like Rolling Stones. Although I do love Led Zeppelin. So, that's another band I would throw in. Newer bands, I would say in the 90s, it started off with Nirvana. I thought what they did was amazing. And then it became Foo Fighters. I was a big Linkin Park guy.
I like Linkin Park too. Yeah.
Big Linkin Park guy. Yeah, when Bennington died, that one hurt. Yeah, so I mean, since then, shit, I don't even know any modern bands. Are there any good modern bands? Who the hell's a modern
Oh,
band?
sure. I mean, you think Rival Sons is good. Sean's favorite band, Greta Van Fleet, is really good.
Yeah, see, I have what I have that's old stuff from the 70s, 80s, 90s. And then, all of a sudden I'll throw on a fucking movie soundtrack to get into a workout. I'll listen to that motivational music from like NFL films.
Rocky 3.
Yeah.
The Rocky 3.
No, not Rocky 3. No.
Rocky 4 soundtrack was a great one.
Rocky 4 soundtrack
Burning
is the
Hot.
greatest soundtrack of all time, considering it's
Well,
the
you know
greatest
why Rocky 4 was a great soundtrack? It was because of the 80s. Everything was revenge driven. So you could put on the Cobra soundtrack and it would get you pumped up.
But no, here's the thing about Rocky 4 before we go.
Terrible movie.
Apollo didn't need to die.
Terrible movie.
It's like, he's getting his ass kicked in the first fucking round. It's like, hey, listen, let me get my ass kicked in the second round from my wife and my kid. Okay. And whatever, don't throw in the towel. No, Rocky, it's stupid. It was a stupid decision to make.
Rocky 4 was like an 80s, almost TV, made for TV kind of movie. It was weird. It was goofy. And then it got serious. And then it was, I was not a fan of Rocky 4. Rocky 3, when it was made, loved it. Looking back, it was like, I can see where he starts jumping the shark here a little bit. After that, I tuned out of. I can't even tell you about Rocky 5 and everything.
Rocky 5 was terrible. Rocky Balboa was great.
I just watched that the other day.
Yeah, no, I was out by that.
And that
point.
great speech and everything.
Yeah, same thing with the Rambos. The First Blood to me. And whenever someone gets into an argument with me
first date I ever went on with my wife was to see Rambo.
And I tell people, anyone that gets into arguments with me over pro cop, anti cop, this and that, I'm like, did you see First Blood? Yeah. Who'd you root for? You rooted for Stallone, that whole movie. Okay.
Wait,
so yeah.
Could that situation have been handled a little bit differently?
Yeah. Imagine if Stallone said, you know what? I'm gonna have Apollo Creed be John Rambo, and it's a black guy that they're chasing in the woods. And all of a sudden, a lot of people are watching that movie.
Stupid deputy. That guy with the mustache who wanted to fall out of the helicopter. He escalated the whole situation. And then I love when Troutman shows up and just the way he says it, you're gonna need some more body bags. Body bags.
Now going back to music, this will blow your mind. If I'm on a long drive, I will listen to, there's a channel on Sirius XM, this 40s big band channel. I love that whatever it's called, that 40s channel. I love the music from that era.
That's the swing channel.
I love it.
There used to be 50s on 5, but they
40s Junction. 40s Junction.
40s Junction. There you go. Right.
On a long drive, I could zone out to that music.
Really?
I could listen to Sinatra for hours.
Sean, how many years have we been doing this show?
4.5.
We have never had anyone reference 40s Junction on this show.
Yeah.
I understand why, though, because when you mention all these bands, and then you have Springsteen, the working collar guy, Bon Jovi, the hair metal, Linkin Park, the Depression, all this stuff. It was just about having fun in music.
Yeah.
40s. It was just very simple. The 50s and Motown was all about getting the girl and dancing and all this stuff. There wasn't a lot of depression and heavy thinking about it. That's why the music is it's still prevalent 70 years later.
Yeah. And 40s music is very intricate. I mean, you have, Artie Shaw, you have these big bands that are playing. There's a lot of instruments. There's a lot going on. I like I said, long drive, I turn that stuff on and I zone out and yeah.
Listen, man, I love you. I don't know if I can do a road trip with you then. But listen, man, this was well worth the wait.
Yes,
Oh
Okay.
absolutely.
no, listen, again, I can't
We
thank you guys enough, and my apologies for all
not
the, you know, the
no
mix
apology
up.
necessary, please.
Yeah.
I enjoyed 98% of this interview.
Yeah. No, you were great. I before you came on, I was telling Sean I started this 75 hard, so I still haven't done my outdoor exercise, my outdoor workouts. I got to get that in now. And dude, thank you so much for coming
No,
on.
thank
Really
you.
do
Stop it,
appreciate it.
Jeffrey. Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to be reaching out to something. I got something I want to run by you.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, I'll talk to you like maybe next week. All
Yeah,
right,
give me a
listen.
call.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, take care, Vince. What are you plugging? What can we push for you?
Yeah, jump on my Twitter at Vince August 21, my Instagram at Vince August. I also every now and I suck at being consistent with my YouTube stuff and putting up videos, but I do have a channel on YouTube where, you know, I'll hear something happen. Like I want to talk about Justin Timberlake and how you never, ever, ever, ever refuse to take a DWI. If I can send a message to anyone watching this, I'm a lawyer. I was a municipal court judge. I do criminal defense. Never, ever, ever refuse. Take the test. Okay. Take the breathalyzer. Your attorney can do better with that. Whatever it turns out to be, we can't do shit with the refusal. So I'm going to do a podcast about that. Even some of the Trump stuff, I do videos to let people know what the outcome is that you're not hearing from the mainstream media and why they found them guilty on 34 counts and how you can find somebody guilty on 34 counts, but it not be a crime. So I like to do videos like that and just kind of make people aware. Listen, I don't do propaganda. I do information.
This is great stuff, guys. Please follow Vince August. He's a great dude. Also, if you notice for this show, I've been wearing Pitbulls and Addicts hat. Please give to this organization. We just did a fundraiser for them. You know, it's a really great cause. Sean, how are tickets going for your special coming up?
We are officially about 70% sold for
Wow.
special. So July 12th and 13th, Jeffrey is accompanying me at Catch a Rising Star in Princeton. And then he has the honor, and it is actually my honor, of Jeffrey's opening my first hour taping August 24th at the Dojo in Morris Plains, tipscomedy.com, Saturday, August 24th. VIP is sold out. There is a handful of a couple handsful really of some tickets available. It is selling out.
It'll sell out.
We're
Trust
only
me.
doing one show because I'm
It
a
will sell out.
masochist. And I decided to do it in one take. So yeah, it's gonna be great. And I've got my best buddy with me, and then Jeff will be there as well.
Yep. It's such a dick. All right, guys, thank you so much. Please keep listening, keep subscribing, and keep following us. Follow Vince August. We'll catch you next time, everybody. Take care.
Hey guys.